You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Hello and welcome to Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about jiu-jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a three-stripe blue belt who trains at GF Team Canada Vancouver, located in British Columbia, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Louie. Man, the
Hi,
pleasure is
Lamar.
all
Thanks for
mine,
having me
sir.
on. And
I am doing pretty well. Getting over
how
a
are you
little
doing?
cold, but other than that, man, I'm cool.
Are you guys getting hit very hard with like
It
respiratory
seems like
illnesses
it.
where you are?
It seems like it. But
Okay, because that's a prevalent thing, particularly up here right now, and of course that affects
oh
training in
yeah.
the jiu-jitsu scene as well. And people have been pretty sensitive to it up here. It can be a little bit divisive with all the COVID stuff happening too. And not that I want to get
Yeah,
into that
I
necessarily,
got
but
you.
just wondering.
Nah, I just like my daughter got sick from school, and she brought it home, and I got the worst of it. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, let's
yeah, I hear you.
let's rock it out, man. If you want to formally introduce yourself again, by all means, and let's hear about your jiu-jitsu journey.
Sure. Again, my name's Daniel Louie. 48 years old. I'm a blue belt, three stripes. I started jujitsu when I was 44, and one of the primary motivations that got me into jujitsu was to find something active and fun at a
Uh-huh.
time that was really stressful in my life. That thing was actually my father's cancer diagnosis, and I'm just gonna let everyone know here, he
Awesome.
survived. He's doing well, amazing. Yeah, but it was very difficult for years, but particularly at that time. And maybe it was a little crazy. My wife was wondering, do you really want to start something
Right.
right now? you know, I'm an only son. My parents do live in the same city as I do. And, I was instrumental in kind of, being there for them and things like that. But I was like, hey, I need to do something for myself in the midst of this. And that was very important. Like I just knew that my survival and kind of the mental health aspect and physical health, it was
Yeah.
gonna be challenged, and just felt that was exactly what
Hmm.
I needed to do at that time.
It's
And
awesome.
here we are, still at it.
Very awesome to hear. Happy that your dad is doing better, and you found that outlet, and you kind of stuck
Great.
with it.
I did. I did. This is at a gym that my youngest son was training karate, and later on he started jujitsu as well. And I'm watching this, right? And I had trained martial arts growing up all through high school, some in university. Even after I got married, was still doing some martial arts, all striking arts. And But I was always intrigued by jujitsu and watching it, and of course, uh, I remember renting the VHS tapes of the first UFC and things like that. And that's, of course, Hoist Gracie and all that, was just mind blowing. And
Right.
that's how old I am, right? So, uh, yeah. And I was like, oh, would I ever give it a shot? Would I ever give it a shot? And
Hmm.
finally said, look, it's time. I'm going to give it a shot. And it was, it was mind blowing. It was incredibly difficult. It was not like what I thought or expected. So many different things, I'm sure others have
Oh
felt
yeah.
that way at
Oh
times too.
yeah. Oh yeah. So, so your first time stepping on the mats, like what was that like? What was that like?
Trial lesson. It was a Kyotera Academy school, like a affiliated school. We were taught by. It was a small school. The BJJ side of it was a smaller school, so that kind of tells you something. So we were taught by purple belt and blue belt. Um, Stepped on the mats, and I felt confident. I felt good about going through the movements and kind of the initial movements. You know how some people really struggle with the warm-up movements, even like shrimping or rolling.
Uh-huh.
I had done a lot of those kind of things already. And so I think I was like overconfident. I had grown up with a lot of sports in my life, not necessarily at a super high level, but competent, right? Like I was always fairly good at, moving and doing the things that I was used to doing. And I was moving well. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I got this. I think I can handle this. Oh gosh. Then we started working on mount escapes, and that was the lesson that day. And I think a female, I remember her. She was a blue belt. She was half my size, and I was under her mount, and she got me in grapevines. And I was trying very hard, and not that I felt like pressured or threatened, but I was trying hard not to just like bench press someone off me, right? I was like, but I'm under her, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to do. Like I figured this out. Like she's got grapevines, and I'm stuck. And like I like, do I pull? Do I push? Like, I mean, very basic thing. I mean, obviously we know what to do now, but at that time I was just like, this stuff works. I was like, I gotta figure this out. Like this, I am so like overconfident about what I think I can physically do, and this
Mm-hmm.
stuff actually works. Like the thing that they say about it is that it works. It gives leverage and advantage to a
Yeah.
smaller person over a bigger person
Yep.
who's untrained, and I'm untrained, and
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know what to do.
Oh yeah.
And failure for me in that moment was a really good motivator because it's like kind of like, okay, do I want to just like, okay, yeah, okay, um, I don't need this. This is that's I don't need this, or do I suck it up and go, I need to learn, and so I wanted to learn, and that's actually I can tell you the addiction started that day because I started home and going on YouTube and looking up all this stuff, which was actually a mistake, by the way. I think, yeah, because I got into the habit of, and I think a lot of beginners probably do this when you get that rush and like, I want to figure this out. You start looking at all these different techniques, but you have no idea how they fit together. And that's what happened to me. There's like all of these disparate, distinct, discrete techniques. It's like a whole smorgasbord of all this stuff. And then you think, okay, I know something. And then you realize, no, I don't know anything because I don't know where they work, how they work, and where they fit
Oh
together.
yeah.
And it just became that journey of trying to figure out, how do I do this? And I'll be honest, I've discovered I'm not jujitsu smart. I'm not. I'm jujitsu slow. I'm spectacularly mediocre at jujitsu.
Spectacular mediocre.
And I think,
Yeah, I like
you
that.
like that? I mean, I'm spectacularly mediocre, and I have to be okay with that. And I have to trust that, it's like, was it Chris Howditer said? Is it Chris Howditer? Is
Chris
that how you say his
Hodder.
name? He says like it's hotter. Yeah, it's not who's
Yep,
good,
but
it's
it's
who's
not who's
left.
good, who's yep. It's all about who left.
I gotta stay at it. I gotta stay at this. And I mean, there's so many ups and downs. I've had many seasons where I feel like I'm completely going backwards. I'm not learning. I'm going backwards. It's getting worse. It's getting worse for me rather than better. Even though I'm putting in the time. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it gets like that, man. It you have your moments where you feel like, oh man, am I doing this right? Is it even worth it? Am I, is this if this is for me? Like even as a brown belt, I still have more moments where it's like,
Mm.
man, what am I doing? Like what? Why? Like, am I like? Have I wasted 5 years trying to learn this sport? Because it's always something. It's always something that I learn every single time I step on the mats, and especially
Mm.
now, with social media, you have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have Facebook. When you start
Mm.
joining all these jujitsu groups, and it's like, yeah, you go down this rabbit hole and you see all these people that's either a rank under you or that's been doing it for like 40 years and just make everything look so flawlessly. It's like, man, I don't think I'm gonna ever get to that.
That's
But
right.
yeah, you just gotta, you just have to
Totally.
persevere, man. You just have to push through it, and make jiu-jitsu work for you.
That's right. Yeah, and I have to figure out, and I think this is a blue belt part of it, is like what's my game, and I still don't entirely know for sure yet
Mm-hmm.
at my game right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying a lot of different things. I kind of have an idea of as an older grappler. Older? Am I? Yeah, that's sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that. In the middle heavy kind of category, that when I'm or when I'm grappling or when I'm playing with these younger guys who are more explosive, I have to adopt a game that I can't match them for what they're trying to do. I have to do what I need to do that stuffs what they're trying to do. Does it work all the time? No, of course not. And I have to fail over and over and over again. And it's embarrassing. I remember one of oh my goodness, the happiest day of my life. Well, I'm sorry, not the happiest day of my life. That's hyperbole. A really happy part of my jiu-jitsu journey was, of course, getting my blue belt, my first earned belt.
Mm-hmm.
And then realizing, oh my goodness, like the blue belt blues are real.
They are.
Like I felt so intimidated going back into class and going, how do I rep this belt now? And I'm still at times getting smashed by, sometimes the guys that are, with the white belt, like who are bigger, stronger, younger. And that really hit me hard. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's just part of the journey.
Yeah, right? It's definitely part of the journey. Me and a couple other guests were talking about it. We call blue belts like varsity white belts. Because it's you're still learning. You're still learning your body. You're still learning you're still learning this art. So it's like that blue belt is kind of like, okay, congratulations, you understand jiu-jitsu. Like you understand the concept of jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And then so it's like, yeah, you thinking like, man, I'm a blue belt now. Why am I still getting like steamrolled by white belts and beat up by white belts? I should be, steps and bounds ahead of these people. But it is what it is. Because even now, man, like when I got promoted, I still didn't feel like a brown belt. Mm-hmm. I still don't. Like till this day, I'm still like, am I really a brown belt?
Wow.
Like, this is weird. I mean, I've heard stories where people say it don't like actually kick in until, I don't know, maybe like a few months in. But like to me, it's only been like almost 2 months now, give or take.
Yeah.
Give or take a day or two. But I'm still like, man, I'm still looking for my purple belt to tie around my waist. I still don't believe it.
Well, you know what? I just say congratulations.
Thank you
on your brown belt. I really look up to you guys. In my school, my first school. So if you notice, I said Kyotera, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I said, and of course now I'm training at GF team. So there's something happened there, right?
Uh-huh.
What happened was COVID, and our smaller school folded, unfortunately. The smaller jiu-jitsu program in this, it was not a small school, but the jiu-jitsu program was smaller than what GF team had. Anyways, it folded. And at that school, like I said, the highest ranked person that I usually rolled with would have been a purple belt. It wasn't until I went to GF team, and actually the school kind of folded into the other school. Like they worked together so that at least these students had a place to go after the school closed.
Uh-huh.
GF team was actually just across the street, and we ended up joining there. And that's when I started meeting like purple belts, brown belts, and black belts.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like, whoa, like it was just like, whoa, jiu-jitsu is so wide. The skill range is incredible. Like there's so much to still learn. This was, of course, when I was still a white belt. I got my blue belt at GF team.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I was a little bit intimidated at first, stepping on the mats of the new school, new people, new instructors, new rolling partners. At that time, it was still kind of, sometimes you would have to be, in Canada or in BC, maybe even Vancouver, some of the schools, they opened slowly from COVID.
Uh-huh.
So you would have you would do either solo classes or you would only roll in small cohorts of 2 at first and then 4 later on. And you stayed with that cohort to be safe, right? Just to be safer.
Right.
And anyways, everything's back to normal now. But yeah, but that was incredible. It was intimidating at first, but it was also just amazing. This is what it feels like to roll with somebody who is at the expert level, brown and above. It's like, wow.
Oh yeah. Like even now, I've been at the same school for like the past 5 years, and my instructor, we had a day where we just got a chance to just roll. We just put the gis on and just rolled for like a good 5 minutes, and I got my ass whooped. I mean, it's to be suspected, but it was just like, man, there was absolutely nothing I could do to like get anything. Like I couldn't pass his guard. I mean, I couldn't pass. I couldn't do nothing. And I just felt so helpless. And he was like, all right, look, you got to understand, I know your game because I taught you your game.
Yes.
So it was like, once he said that, I was like, yeah, you got a point. Because I was pissed. I was like,
oh, wow.
I was upset, man. Because I was like, man, there's nothing I was doing. I couldn't like I said, I couldn't pass his guard. I couldn't do absolutely jack squat. And I was just like, man, what the heck is going on here? But yeah, he, once he broke that down to me, he's like, yeah, you just got to understand, I know your game because I taught you your game. So I know how to counter everything you're about to do. And it's like, man, shoot. It's like, no matter what I tried, man, nothing was working. I was just like, all right, dude, like, give me something. But he's like, no, he's like, for what you were doing good, but I couldn't just let you, have your way. I was like, you could have. Like, you could have just a little bit.
And sometimes they do. Sometimes people will give you something.
Yeah.
They'll give you, and you have to remember that if you got that on that black belt or a brown belt, sometimes they probably gave you that opening so that they could work on parts of their game too. And of course sometimes you do catch someone, but man, I mean, I still play a very defensive game. That's still kind of where I'm at. I came to realize, not, I would say about half a year ago, that blue belt is still the beginning of the journey, like you just said.
Yep.
The beginner. Like, I'm not a defensive beginner because I'm supposed to have my defense. I know, the basic positions, but I'm still a beginner. And I was like, that was actually a bit of a relief. But I'm also not like a bare beginner, So interesting. And I understand why now, like Joe Rogan says, blue belts are still the nail. Like his job, or blue belts are there for the upper belts to just choke them out, because we're defensive enough to know how to defend it, and that's how they improve their game, is by still dominating and working on their subs on us, because we do have some defensive game. So yeah, I was like, okay, all right, but I'm gonna get there, right? Am I? Please, someone tell me.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there.
Someone tell me that I'm actually gonna get there someday. Like I said, spectacularly mediocre, and it's fun.
I mean, it's because blue belt is by far the hardest belt.
Really? Okay.
Because it's like you're at that point where you're quote unquote an upper belt to white belts. So you have a little target on your back. So it's like, yeah, I'm an upper belt to a white belt, so they're gonna try to push everything to get that tap, so they can say they tap a upper belt, but you're still a lower rank belt to brown, purple, brown, and black. Whereas like, okay, we're gonna roll, enough, so we're not just gonna take it easy on you.
No, that's right.
So you're just gonna get, mopped. It's just, it just comes with the territory, and I think it's that way with all blue belts. I was like that, whereas like, I was blue. I would roll with people who was like white belts or newbies, and they would just go at it. And it's like, come on, man. Like, why are you being so aggressive? Because I was an upper belt. They wanted an upper belt on their, on their belt saying like, yeah, I tapped the blue belt. But, it happens. It happens.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Oh, man.
do you compete or anything, or you just to train?
I have competed.
Uh-huh.
I've competed in a local tournament at white belt. I competed in an in-house tournament at white belt. And I have decided, and these decisions are not absolute, but right now in my life, I don't need to compete.
Mm-hmm.
I've made a decision right now. It doesn't mean I don't have the itch to, but I have made a mental decision that right now, with what's in my life, my responsibilities, my church, I'm a pastor.
Oh wow,
with
okay.
where they're at, yeah. And I don't know if you knew that, but anyways, it's just not something I'm going to prioritize right now. And then something happened. Our association, or our GF team family, along with some other schools in our area, have started a new tournament series. It's called Prime BJJ Series, and it looks like it's going to be just a really wonderful, organized, series starting next year. Four dates with ranking, and all of that kind of stuff. IBJJF rules, gi and no gi, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I want to support what they're doing because I love my school, I love my family, I love the community, and I'm just thinking, should I? So the question's back in front of me again, but I did make a decision that at least for the next foreseeable future, I was not going to prioritize competing.
Mm-hmm.
I did compete as a white belt. It was an awesome experience. I can see why, it is such a wonderful, it was a horrible white belt match, but that's to be expected, but I can see how it's such a wonderful experience to have to put your mind and your body through that, to learn.
Oh yeah. Like I told myself that I was going to start competing, and a part of me is like, dang, why did I wait so late? Why did I wait so late in my career to start competing? But man, it's like, to me, at the level that I'm at and what I'm trying to get to, I just need that extra push, the extra, yeah, just that a different light, I guess you can say, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, because I'm so used to just training with the handful of guys at my school, which I'm not complaining at all. I love these guys because they always push me beyond what I'm capable of, and I love them for that. But it's like, I want to see what my jiu-jitsu will be able to do versus someone else's jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't know their game, they don't know mine. All we know is, we both do jiu-jitsu. Let's see I'm gonna say, like, let's see who's is better. Excuse me. And I think it's just the thought and thrill of that, like, man, just going out there and just leaving it all on the mats, man, against an opponent that you don't know. So you have to be on your A game.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna take it easy on him today because he's XYZ. Like, no, this dude is trying to win. He has that motive of, I'm trying to kill you just like you're trying to kill me. So let's see who first, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think the intensity, when you want to up the intensity, and when is it appropriate to do that in training? When is it appropriate to do that? Obviously, you have to do that in competition, but it's not until I think you're training for competition that you actually put a focus on upping that intensity to that level. And I don't think I'm quite there yet. You know what I mean? Like we've pushed it sometimes, but there's another level. There has to be.
Yeah,
and
there is.
And yeah, there is. And I think, I also asked myself the question, because I am a competitive person. I asked myself my question: what are my goals in jiu-jitsu right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because I started later in life. Because it's hard. I'd like to think, okay, in Daniel Louie's brain, he'd like to think that if he put his mind to something, he could become a world champion at something.
Right.
But I'm not saying that's not possible, but I mean, is it, realistic?
Is it realistic? Right.
Maybe at Masters 5. I don't know.
Yeah, I think about that too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I just recently, I guess I could say I just recently kind of like figured out what I want to do for jiu-jitsu after black belt, I guess you can say.
Okay.
I do,
Cool.
I do eventually want to open my own school. Obviously be a affiliate of my, of Joe Moera, who, my school is under. And I have an awesome coach who's like, hey, whenever you're ready, I'll help you find a building. I'll help you set up shop and everything else under the sun. Cause he said it, he said it so many times himself. And, we've talked about it plenty of times. Like, yeah, you're going to have your own school. It's just a matter of time. Cause I love teaching. I love the sport. I'm there as much as I humanly possibly can.
Yes.
And I just, it's just one of those things where it's like, I can't live without at this point.
You're a lifer. You're committed.
I am very committed.
Yeah.
I am definitely committed.
You have a podcast on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm trying anything and everything I can do to make jiu-jitsu like the forefront of everything I do. Mm-hmm. So it's like with this, with teaching, with training, with competing, with just whatever else I can think of that's jiu-jitsu related that I have ideas for, and things I want to see, personally, things I want to see from my school, and the things I want to kind of like, I guess, have an idea for when I open my own school. I just want jiu-jitsu to be there, and that's all I'm asking for,
And my goal, I've clarified it for myself, is I want to be the best teammate I can be right now. So that means I want to be able to roll and train and drill and support and applaud and cheer in such a way that my teammates can improve and meet their goals if they want to compete.
Oh yeah.
So if they want to roll a certain way, I want it, and maybe, I might not be their toughest roll or anything like that. But let's say if we were to do something from positional, hey, let's just do from there because you're working on that. I want to help you. Like I want to do what I can to see them succeed if that's their goal to compete. I would love that. And I don't believe I will, push my goals into like opening a school or anything like that. I don't foresee it. I feel like my life is goals are in a different area, but I do love communicating. I do love teaching. I could see in the future when the competency is there, the knowledge is there, and the respect is there. I think that comes with it too.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to be able to share that knowledge in a class, like in a school setting, but not necessarily my own school. But I'd love to. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because everyone. Honestly, I don't think that rank is a big factor when it comes to jiu-jitsu as far as learning and teaching, because everyone learns and teach differently.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from from blue and white belts at my school. Just some of the guys and girls that I've talked to, doing episodes. I've learned so much. I was able to look at jiu-jitsu a little bit differently because I'm hearing it from a fresh set of ears, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know these people and they don't know me, so we get to sit down and talk about jiu-jitsu and our views and outtakes from it, and it just like, man, I didn't, I have so many moments like, damn, I didn't even think about that. So it's everyone is able to learn and teach. That's what I feel about it.
Yeah. I think there are some people who communicate their knowledge better. Like I think some people, and there's also some people that I'm just drawn to more, because of the way they communicate. And we all have our favorite coaches and favorite professors, probably because of the way we relate to them too, or relate to their style of teaching. Yeah. And some that maybe don't as much. I love the fact that we have 3 Brazilian brown belts teaching at our school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. That's a wealth of riches.
Yeah, that's a lot of wealth.
I know. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how fortunate we are. And these guys are full-time black belt instructors. So, this is a wealth of riches for us. And we just recently had another promotion where one of the longtime coaches was promoted to black belt. And
Congratulations.
yeah, I mean, and like, I'm just so excited every time one of my teammates gets promoted. It's just exciting, right? So,
Oh yeah.
and then it just reminds me this journey is long.
Mm-hmm.
This journey's long, and that was something that I had to learn somewhat the hard way too. That my body, as tough as I think I am sometimes, have to deal with my limitations. So Coach Davy, one of the coaches, he's like, "Hey man, you are getting injured a lot because you're too tense right now. I need you. It's not so much the intensity; it's the tension in your intensity. Your fear of certain things is causing you to tense in this situation, and you're getting hurt, or you're getting the aggravations from that." He goes, try to relax and manage the intensity at the right time so that you can roll more and roll longer, as opposed to like just being afraid of getting caught somewhere,
Yeah.
And so you're caught. Who cares? It's not a big deal. And so, I mean, man, it was so good because I'm thinking more now about what my body needs to be able to keep training for the long term too.
Yeah.
Even though I want to sometimes have those epic rolls. It's not often, but I want to have them sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But I can't
I
do
hear
it.
you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but that's all. I mean, that's advice I give to anybody out there, and especially at my school, is like, you have to listen to your body. Granted, I don't listen to my own advice sometimes. I can admit that, because when I decided to compete in January, I was going in like this last couple months. I was going to the gym 3 times a day. I was training 3 times a day. No, I'm sorry. I was training 3 days out of the week at the gym, and I was going to training 3 days out of the week. So I was just like, every day was something. Knowing that, I'm like, okay, I need to slow down. I would get up in the morning. I'd do like a 30-minute cardio workout, go to work. On my lunch break, go to the gym, come home, do another cardio workout, then wake up the next day, do another cardio workout, then go, then training on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was, man, my goodness. And I'm still like hurt by it. Like, my body still is kind of sore from it. And with me being sick right now, it's driving me crazy because I want to train so bad. Like, I just, because like I'm like in the room that I'm in right now, like, I guess you want to say my office area, I have mats on the floor. And I want to get down there and just drill something so bad, but like, as soon as I look at those mats, man, I'm like, I feel so exhausted. I was like, nah, don't do it.
They're calling out to you, but your body needs to. If I don't take this rest, I'm not gonna be able to do what I need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm gonna listen to my body. I'm gonna take this week off. It's gonna be hard as hell because I do not like missing training. But I'm like, yeah, I need to take a break. So I'm kind of happy I got sick. I got this cold because everything came to a screeching halt. Because I got up, I even set my clock this morning like, yeah, I'm going to get up and work out regardless of how I feel. But my body was like, yeah, nah, bro, you going to lay your ass back down and go to sleep. So,
man,
yeah.
See, Jiu-Jitsu does things to our bodies, particularly when we first start the journey at white belt, the kind of pains that you've never experienced. Like, geez, like, I still get, we get sore from training, but at white belt, there were things that were happening that were never been experienced before, right? Now this is just normal. You feel it's more normal. Maybe it's just the lack, you're not used to it. But I was like, is it going to be like this the rest of my life? How do we handle this? How is this possible?
Yeah.
But then, of course, as you progress in your white belt to your blue belt, you learn the proper framing and defensive positions and where you're supposed to be safe. You might still be stuck, but at least you're safe.
Right. At least you're, you're stuck, but you're not, you're not dying. You're not suffocating down there.
Oh man. And as a beginner, I was intimidated by the claustrophobia at first. It was terrifying.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm not afraid to admit it. I tapped to claustrophobia. Like
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm scared. I don't know what to. I can't breathe. I'm panicking. Like I was panicking, and I'm like, is this going to be what it's like? But then I just knew. I felt something that, hey, this is worth getting through. So jujitsu to me is terrible marketing for this for the sport in terms of growing it, because it is so hard.
Yeah.
you know, like it is so hard at the beginning, and it doesn't ever not become hard. I mean, you get better at it, but I mean, the dropout rate is just incredible.
It is.
It really is, and
Especially
I get it.
especially at blue
I get,
belt. Especially at blue
yeah,
belt.
I'm not going to drop out. I'm not dropping out.
Oh no, you
Nope,
can't at this point. Like we're
nope,
we're
nope, nope,
we're
nope,
we're
nope.
good friends now. I would not let you drop out.
Nope,
I
I'm not dropping
I
out.
know where you train. I
Yeah.
will come find you.
Yeah, actually, dropping out hasn't crossed my mind. But I was like, am I ever going to get over the fear? Well, I won't know unless I keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and 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 I'm in a very different place now, and that fundamentally has done amazing things for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
the feeling of fear and intimidation, of being pressured to such an extent, and having the cojones to somehow find a way to bear it and to persevere through it, to find a safe, position, or to, and that's true of a lot of different aspects to life.
Mm-hmm.
Relationally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Just what an amazing art, to push you in that direction.
Yeah. And like I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, it's hard to try to explain to people like what's jujitsu. Everyone knows it's like
Oh my
it's
God.
a quote unquote form of martial art, but
Yes.
you really can't like sell nobody
Yeah.
like, yeah, look, this is a sport. You're mentally gonna feel better. You're emotionally gonna feel better. Everything in life is gonna get better, but your body's gonna suck. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna be in
Yeah.
so much pain on random ass days,
Yeah.
but it's all worth it.
Yes.
It's so worth it.
And the big thing, ego crushing,
Yes.
because that is so toxic, right?
Uh-huh.
The ego, the unrestrained ego is so toxic in everything, relationships. And to crush that and to have to deal with that, the humility, which produces the humbleness in an art,
Mm-hmm.
is so important. It's like, I suck at this and I'm getting, flattened. And I had a woman who's half my size grapevine me, I can't get out. And I'm like, what do I do? And it's like, you willing to keep on going? Well, yeah, yeah. I want to learn.
I want to learn. I want to
I want
learn.
to learn.
There's been so many days where, I will leave class, neck is sore, arms and limbs are sore, fingers on fire, body is just like beat to shit. But
Mm-hmm.
it's so weird, but there's no greater feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I know that I'm beat up. I know everything is like from head to toe is bruised, but I'm about to get up and do this in the morning. Like I'm about to get up and do this again because I
Yeah.
love it so much.
Yeah.
So
COVID was tough on a lot of people in different ways. For me, in leading a congregation, like a Christian congregation at church, there were some really tough days, and then I'd show up at the gym and ready. I come to train, and I feel like I barely got there. Like I almost did not want to go there. I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm not my usual chirpy self, and like high-fiving and fist bumping people when I walk in, and people are like, "Hey, you okay?" I'm like, I'm just tired, and I really probably could just go home and sleep, or just wallow in the misery that I've been dealing with the whole day. And that's part of my journey is listening to people's stresses and challenges and things that they're going through, and it does affect me. I mean, I'd be lying if it doesn't affect me, but it's part of it. But even on the worst of those days, by the end of class, I'm like so energized and happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm so glad I came. I may not have had the best training. It was not necessarily the best roles. I did not necessarily have my best energy, but I'm glad I'm here. And, and it helped me through this. It helped me through it, and it helped me be the better person that can help others.
Yeah.
By being there. And so it has been an amazing part of my life, and that's why I tell people, you got to come and check it out. And they're like, what? You gotta touch people and grapple people, and you're like in these weird positions that are a little bit too close to relations. And
I know, right?
and I'm like, yeah, but it's really cool, and you're gonna love it. Well, okay, I don't know if you'll love it actually, but you may find something unique and just so maybe even, I dare say, healing about it.
Oh yeah.
And good for you. So
yeah, I think everyone, no matter what your age is, you should try it. And and I feel like, with jiu-jitsu, it's one of those sports where you can gain something out of it. Mm-hmm. Because there are so many different categories when it comes to jiu-jitsu, because you have your hobbyists, you have your competitors, you have your instructors, you have, people who just doing it just to be doing it, and you can learn from all those people. Because like you were saying, like, you don't necessarily see yourself teaching, but you want to be the best, training partner you can be. Mm-hmm. And we have a guy like that. His name is Scott. He's a blue belt, and I think it just clicked for him too. Like, cause he's like, man, he said it feels so good not being like low on the totem pole. Because for a minute he was like, he was the white belt. He was the only white belt. Yeah. And then, he got blue, and then like, a couple months later we started getting more and more people in. So he's like, okay, I have people that I can almost bully, so I can, evolve my game and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I absolutely love repping with this guy, because he, no matter how many times you want to rep this technique, he will. Because I think one day, we were repping 4x4, and I think we repped it for maybe an hour, because I think class was over at this point, and we were still on the mats. I got him in 4x4, and it's like, okay, hey, how is this pressure? What about this? What about that? Like, okay, try to move this way, try to move that way. And we broke it down to, as simplistic as possible. And, I felt great afterwards. And it was just like, man, like I need more days like that. Mm-hmm. Like nothing too competitive, mm-hmm. or, anything of the sort. But, I just kind of want to just rep. I just kind of want to rep for like an hour. There's too many, it's not too many days we get to do that. But when we do, man, I absolutely love it. Like if I can, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I was just saying, that is, I think there's a feeling, there's an aesthetic to jiu-jitsu that sometimes it just, while it's violent and it's rough in many ways, it's also really beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there are movements and flows that are just, I'd love to have beautiful jiu-jitsu. And I remember telling my coach one time when I was still a white belt, man, I want to have beautiful jiu-jitsu. And he looked at me and he's like, yeah. There's a reason why you don't flow yet. There's a reason why it's not beautiful yet. And I'm just like, I know. But I'm just like, but there is an aesthetic to it, not just all the, the power is important, the strength is important, but there's something about when people move a certain way, and I watch it and I'm just like, whoa, that jaw-dropping moment, and that's also amazing to me, and I'd love to have that. I'm waiting for that, and there are moments that there might be a little bit of that,
Mm-hmm.
One time I hit a long step pass or something,
I'm telling you, man, when it happens to you, when you get that quote unquote beautiful moment, dude, like that spark and that love for jiu-jitsu is just going to get hotter, man.
Yeah.
Because I think I had a roll with we would just flow rolling, me and one of the other brown belts, and everyone was just sitting back watching, and they were just like, man, that was like graceful. Like you guys are just, you guys are moving. Everything is with a purpose. Nothing seems like sloppy. Everything is just flowing. And it was like, man, that was a beautiful role. It was like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, thank you very much. Because it's a very violent sport. Like, where, you're choking people. You're trying to break, limbs and dislocate, joints and all this other stuff. But when you see a very technical role where it looks like everyone's moving in slow motion, but the people who knows, like, man, this is intense. This is so intense. But yeah, man, I love it. I love it.
Well, it's like anything, right? Like when you see people who are excellent at something, they make it look easy. And you want that. But then the whole point is, are you willing to put in the training that went behind making that look so easy and excellent?
Exactly.
And we don't know that when you're in the beginning. You don't know that.
Nope.
You just think, oh, I can do that. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Or not yet. Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah. And my instructor, he drilled this in our heads since day one. He was just basically saying like jiu-jitsu is something, you get out of jiu-jitsu what you put into it. Like if you don't, if you just go in half-ass, your jiu-jitsu is going to be half-ass. If you go out there and put in the work, it's going to show. You're going to be like, damn, man, I'm actually okay at this. I still suck, but I'm actually okay at this.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that. I suck, but I'm okay at this.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to get to that place where I could be more relaxed, less tense, but still be intensely focused. And those are different things, but at the same time they go together, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I want to be relaxed and not so tense for my body physically, but I need to be mentally still focused, that I'm sharp and able to respond, because otherwise I feel like I'm a step behind, I'm slow. There are days when they come together, and then there's still many days where I'm still figuring that out. But I think how I'm kind of realizing my progress is that there's more days than there are left, the days that there are not, where they sort of come, when they start coming together.
Yeah.
It's I'm like, okay, maybe there is hope. There is some hope.
There is a chance. There is a chance.
And I'm just reminded, just keep showing up.
Yeah.
Showing up. And I love the community. I've discovered a really, friendly, welcoming BJJ community in Vancouver. And I didn't know it was there before. And I'm just like, it's growing. It's growing in leaps and bounds. And I'm just amazed, that, while COVID, hit a lot of schools hard, now we're coming out of it on the other side. There are new and innovative schools opening up too. And people who are coming here, and those that are training hard and getting promoted and opening schools. The community is growing, and it's exciting. And I love the vibe here. I think for the most part, people are really welcoming. It's not cultish. It's not like weird or overly competitive between schools in an unhealthy way.
Yeah. I
mean, of course, competition is competition. You want to, have the best competitors, but it's not like people can't, you can't train with this person if you're from this school, that kind of thing. I just feel like it's good. We recently, when one of our professors went back to Brazil for a break and to visit family, we invited our head instructor invited someone from another school to come and teach the no-gi class, and he's we tend to, I think I can say this, that we're probably more of a gi school than a no-gi school, but we do no-gi, and man, I was just thinking about how good it is that we can that people are willing to set aside ego and invite someone who's really good at what they do to come and teach at this school, even though they're from another school, and they're willing to share the knowledge and to share the camaraderie and, together. And I think I feel that's healthy, and I'm like glad for that.
Oh yeah. Me and another guy, awesome guy, was talking about this the other day, and we were talking about cross training.
Yes.
And yeah, man, drool at the idea of training with someone else that's not from my school, and learning from whoever I could possibly learn from when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Like, I love seminars. I love anything that's like jiu-jitsu related that's not and I like that's not in an ordinary. I'm all for it, man. I'm like, yes, give it to me. It's jiu-jitsu, give it to me. That's it, man. That's definitely who I am.
It's all consuming once you get into it.
Yeah.
You can't stop talking about it. You can't stop buying stuff. You can't stop buying gis. My wife's like, man, if you're not careful, jiu-jitsu is going to become your Jesus. And I was like,
well,
I was like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Because it's making it into all my conversations. And once everybody knows you start doing it and they know you're doing it, they're intrigued too, right?
Yeah.
And so many of my friends are intrigued, and I know they want to give it a try, but they're still freaking out a little bit about it. I remember one guy, my buddy Fred, he came and watched. I said, hey, okay, you're not ready to take a class, but just come and watch our class. Okay, just come and watch our class. And this was towards the tail end of COVID, so the classes were still kind of small. But the guy that came to class, so that day was the class was really small, actually. I think there was like maybe 3 of us on the mat, so it was a noon hour class. And the other guy that came from an MMA school. He had experience in jiu-jitsu. I think he was a blue belt in MMA. I'm not sure what that means. But
okay.
But anyways, like, he had some experience, and he had more experience than this is when I was still a white belt. But I was trying to demonstrate to my friend Fred, hey, you don't have to be scared of this. You can give this a try. You can try this.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who I was paired with was 300 pounds plus.
Ooh.
Big boy. And Fred was like, you're not going to be paired with him, are you? He goes, I think I am.
I think I am.
He's like, I think I am. You know what? Awesome partner. He was an awesome partner. He was skilled. He moved well, reasonably, and we were safe. But Fred was like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You're freaking me out already. Watching you, I was scared for you, and I was like, oh shoot, But it's hard to sometimes to get some of the guys to come out and check it out, because perhaps maybe they're feeling that in their, as my age, mid to late 40s, it's like, can we actually do this?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can. You don't have to go at the pace that you think you need to go. Like when you watch competition, or we can start off, slow and measured and safe, and trust the teacher, and just be careful who you pair up with, and pair up with somebody you trust, and it's possible.
Yeah, you gotta find your dance partner.
Yeah,
you gotta find your dance partner. There's gonna be.
I said I roll with anyone.
Yeah. You unfortunately you kind of have to at first.
Yeah.
Or just kind of like just sit back and watch people roll, to kind of be like, okay, this person over here, he seems a little spastic, he seems a little dangerous, I'm going to stay away from him for the time being.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, that person seems like he's okay, and you roll with that person.
I've only ever been hurt by white belts.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it goes. Yeah, I've only ever been hurt by white belts, like seriously hurt, injured, and of course they didn't know what they were doing.
Of course.
And when I was one, we did it to each other. But the upper belts, they're deadly and dangerous, and they can do, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I get those moments where like it would be like in the class and be like, hey, anybody want to roll? And I'll get those looks like, like, come on, man, you guys know me, man. I like to cuddle. Come on. like I'm gentle. I won't hurt you guys.
Oh, was it a few weeks ago? I was in the we have one class that's a over 40 class, and I usually don't take that class. But sometimes if I can't make it to the later evenings, if I have a meeting in the evening or something, I'll go to the over 40 class, which is generally populated by men and women who are also bringing their kids to the kids classes because it happens at the same time.
Okay.
So it's earlier in the like it's a late afternoon, but it's earlier in the evening kind of class. And I was rolling with a white belt, and this guy, everything he did was like him starting a lawnmower. It was like him starting a lawnmower. It's like pulling on my collar, pulling on my arm, pulling on this. It was like him starting a lawnmower. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm hanging on, and I'm controlling him the whole time. And he loved it because I was, because he's like, this is hard. But he's like, everything he's yanking on is like him trying to start a lawnmower. And man, I felt it after that class. I was like, oh. But yeah, he was happy though.
Right. That's like we have a white belt new guy and I think I think he's only been there about maybe like a month. And he's feisty, man. He's so feisty and hungry. He's a little he's a little clumsy, a little klutz, but that's to be suspected, learning something new. But I think me and him rolled for the first time maybe like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna roll for 3 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Like you have basically the whole entire match to do, to work. If you want to, whatever you want to go for it.
Yeah.
And man, when I said that, I think he tried every submission he can think of. He tried X choke. He tried a punch choke, Ezekiel, armbar, Kimura, Americana. He even like tried to go for leg locks. I was like, I was like, you want to play this game? Like, are you sure you want to play this game? But I loved it, man. I loved it. He's he's a good kid, man. He's he's a very good kid, very very headstrong and very determined to get better. But it was just funny because I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be just fine.
And he's still training, right?
Oh yeah. He's still training.
So you can get excited about those guys, right? Because you say, hey, they need the skill, but they have the heart, but they got to stick with it to develop the skill, right?
Yeah, heart is more important than anything. Like you have to have heart. You have to be consistent. If you can hold on to those two things throughout your jiu-jitsu journey, you'll be a-okay. Because you can't let the day go by where it's like, man, I'm not doing good. I'm sucking. I can't finish nobody. It happens, man. I didn't get my first tap until like blue belt. Mid blue belt when I got like my first like first submission out of a roll. And I was freaking ecstatic. I was like, yes! I got up, started clapping, running around the mats like I won a tournament or something.
Which you're not supposed to do.
Which you're not supposed to do. But the guy that I was rolling against, he I'm trying to remember what he have prior training before he started training jiu-jitsu. But he was dangerous with wrist locks. You cannot leave your wrist exposed to this guy because he will find a way to wrist lock you in an instant.
We have that guy in our gym too. Yeah. Okay.
So that was like, so he was kind of like my rival for a while. Yeah. Like he started coming, so okay, he's a cool, cool guy. We got to roll a little bit, and it's like I had maybe like a few months on him, but I was getting tapped because he was like wrist locking the hell out of me. Yeah. So I was like, all right, man, enough is enough. Enough is enough. So fast forward a little bit, my instructor he started morning classes. And I was like, that sounds okay. 6:30 jiu-jitsu class, whatever. And he was like, Nick been showing up. He's like, he said, roll with Nick now. And I was like, he's not about to have this one up on me. So I started doing the morning classes together with him. Okay. But it just made us both better, man. And I love the guy for it. But yeah, he was my rival for a long time, a long time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh.
But yeah, man. Yeah. If you have any questions for me, I would definitely love for you to shout out your school. And if you got anything coming up for your school or personal, man, if you want to talk about it, man, the floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I got a question for you. Like, what advice would you give to a blue belt like myself who is still kind of making that transition from a very defensive game to trying to link it together with, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It that that stuff really doesn't come into purple belt. Like, I've explained this analogy before, and I love to explain it again, because it's a very good analogy. As a white belt, you learn to survive. If you rolling with someone as a white belt and they don't tap you, you won. You survived. That's your main goal is the survival. As a blue belt, that's when you start kind of, you're learning your techniques. You're kind of, everything is still gonna be a little sloppy. Everything is gonna look ugly, but you that's when you learn all your techniques. You learn every single technique that you can think of. Once you get to purple belt, that's when refinement starts. Because by that time, you understand the craft a little bit more. You understand the martial art a little bit more, and you're at that level where you're right in the middle, where you can bully some blue and majority white belts. So that way you can start doing stupid stuff like as my instructor said, goofy shit. To, like, I don't play inverted. I don't play all this crazy, different types of guards and stuff like that. But I would do it with a white belt just to see. Yeah. But yeah, by the time you get to a purple belt, that's when you start the refinement, and then I'm learning this myself as brown belt. You start putting everything together. That's when you start really becoming in tune with your body. You'll be able to listen to your body, listen to your opponent's body a lot more clearer, because you're able to keep yourself calm more. And yeah, man, just train. That's really the advice I can give you as a blue belt, man. Just you're at the end. You're 3 stripe. So you're out of that that danger zone of the blue belt blues. So you're right there at purple. So no more warm ups for you. And man, you just got to keep better, man.
Warm-ups. No, I know.
I don't know where that started. Where it's like, yeah, man, purple belts don't do warm ups, because I love doing warm ups. But maybe it's just me. But yeah, man, that's the advice that I have, man, for you and any other blue belts that's out there listening.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm at a place where the conceptual aspect is starting to come back, or starting to make it. It's not just it's not individual movements. It's the concepts that allow me to kind of pull things together, right?
Yeah.
Still very much at the beginning of that, but I mean, I have to remind myself to, when I'm trying to learn new things, that I'm going to fail at them a lot first, and not be afraid to keep on just messing it up.
Yeah.
Like, and if I keep on just doing what I think will help me win that role, I'm actually not going to learn. And so working on certain types of passes, particularly like body lock passes or things like that. Like, I mean, there's a game of inches, or less than inches sometimes. Just that little bit of shift of center of gravity will prevent a sweep, or it will leave me vulnerable to a sweep, even though I feel like I'm in control on top. No.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, here we go. It's like, what happened? And but and it's like, okay, well, don't freak out about it. Like, don't. I mean, analyze it. What did you do wrong? Where was your center of gravity? What hook did you forget? What baby hook did you forget?
Right.
Where did you let him? All that kind of stuff. And it's just like, but before, you didn't even know what to analyze. I had no idea what to analyze. Now I'm starting to feel like, oh, I know what I'm kind of looking for, and why did that happen? And it's like, okay, all right, there's a little bit of progress.
Yeah, you're definitely you're definitely in the right direction, man, when it comes to becoming that jiu-jitsu practitioner that you want to be. Because a lot of people don't see that right away, but you're able to identify that, and you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, another thing is you have to get used to being uncomfortable.
Yes.
You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And
that's the lesson I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The claustrophobia, the intimidation. I still get nervous sometimes, getting on the mats. I'm comfortable. I'm there. But there are moments when I like, I feel, a little bit of that intimidation sometimes, depending on who it is. And I really don't have to. I think we have a really good vibe at our gym. People don't want to hurt each other. And if they did, I think it'd be taken care of.
Yeah,
But
they'll be dealt with accordingly. I
yeah,
assume.
yeah, that will be dealt with, and we've had little bit of that sometimes. But but yeah, being uncomfortable. What an amazing life lesson, right?
Oh yeah.
It has to be.
I mean,
It
yeah, because
has to.
like we were saying earlier, with you being comfortable, being uncomfortable, you can apply that to everyday life.
That's right.
Everyday life. But yeah, man, that's unless you got anything else.
Yeah, I just think, there's a power to community.
Uh huh.
That I think in friendship, as you get older, maybe as a guy, a dude, what's it like to make friends as an older, middle-aged guy, right?
Right.
And jujitsu is just satisfies so much of that need for community too, in some ways, and that leads to other things like the kinds of friendships and camaraderie, an outlet for physical violence.
Yeah. Right.
But in the right in the right place, and it's just, I think, so healthy to have that place of community, especially in these times.
Yeah, definitely,
Uh,
man.
I think of the diversity of our gym. GF Team Canada is amazing. From the Brazilians that are there, we have a number of them, which is amazing, I think, too. But I mean, with the conflict that's going on in Ukraine and Russia, we have Russians in our gym, Ukrainians in our gym. We have people, from all across Asia. We got Canadians. We got like everywhere. It's just our gym is so uniquely diverse, and that's a beautiful thing.
That,
And it's such a wonderful microcosm of what can be when we focus on something good together.
definitely, man.
Uh,
That is
and
definitely beautiful to hear, man. Definitely beautiful to hear.
like, don't we need that? We need that.
Yeah,
We know
we
we
definitely do,
definitely,
man. We definitely do.
you know,
Cause
we.
I've heard stories of like cops and convicted felons on the match together.
Mm,
People of
mhm.
all walks of life. Just I guess you want to say is sharing a common bond and sharing a common goal of getting better at jujitsu, no matter what your
Yeah,
outside life is showing, man.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, I can't imagine life without jujitsu at this point.
yeah, yeah. I think of the fact that right now, just life-wise, the dividedness of our communities.
Mm-hmm.
This is something we need, and it is one outlet for it that is, I think, really practical and so valuable. Um, I know one of our guys, Coach Vincent. He nearly died during COVID. He was a coach. He's a boxer. He's a Muay Thai guy. He's a Jiu-Jitsu purple belt now. But in the beginning of COVID, he was one of the guys that was one of the youngest guys that ended up in intensive care ICU. I think he was in a coma for 6 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, he's got an amazing story of just that journey. But on top of that, I mean, he was a graduate student, but he's got a dream to use martial arts as a way to reaching out to kids, and things like that. And I'm like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. A way to develop the opportunity for at-risk youth from low-income backgrounds to be able to access the power of community in these martial arts, and for health and for growth. And I just believe he's going to do it. As a pastor, I believe in our Christian community and the power of what we're doing. But there's a couple of us who are pastors who are doing jujitsu too, and it's not that it's better or worse. It's not that. It's that we recognize, wow, we've discovered a power of community in sharing this too. And there's something sacred about putting your life in the hands of another person and trusting them to do their technique that is and has the potential to effectively kill you
Uh
and
huh.
not do it.
Right. Right.
And to trust them with that responsibility, and to trust each other with that responsibility. The intimacy of contact, we need that. We're human beings that are made for community and for for physical contact, and we need that in a healthy way, and with boundaries. But at the same time, there's something unique about this.
It is.
That,
It
discovered. I know that one of the conversations that is happening in jiu-jitsu right now is the role of victims of sexual abuse, including sexual abuse in the gyms.
Yeah.
And raising awareness of that.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think,
wild, man.
that people are speaking up about it and having conversation and becoming advocates for one another in the jiu-jitsu community is so important.
Yep.
Because we know what power does. You don't have to look far. In the churches that I'm a part of, there are people in powerful positions who use that powerful position for their own exploitation of others, and that's just sick and disgusting, and it should be called out.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate.
And it happens in jiu-jitsu too, but it's also the same thing in the same ways, empowering people. It's starting to empower the people to speak out and advocate for victims. And I think, I just want to see this community grow and do good, do the good that it can, through some of the things that are that are like, again, the whole concept of the weaker, smaller person being able to stand up for themselves, right?
Yep.
At that core, I want to see good come of it. So I hope so.
And we definitely will, man. The community, the jiu-jitsu world is steady growing, and is growing at a rapid pace, man. And I'm just so thrilled and blessed and happy to be a part of that. And I'm able to do my part with this podcast. It's as small as it is right now, but I'm just happy to be able to contribute to jiu-jitsu.
Hey, do you think you want to start a school someday?
Yeah.
Do you think, what's this whole idea of jiu-jitsu is getting watered down? Like, do you think that's true?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, because I'm wondering, how do you water? I mean, I get it. If you just start handing out belts, or you start becoming the McDojo where, you're just trying to get people to pay their fees and give them a belt because they pay their fees, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, what we do is pressure tested. I mean, and it should be, Yeah,
you would think, as a sport, as thorough as jiu-jitsu is. Well, I'm not gonna say, I'm sorry, not a sport, a martial art as thorough as jiu-jitsu is.
It's both a sport and a martial art. Yeah.
And a lot of, there's a lot of schools, not just saying jiu-jitsu, but there are a lot of schools that, like you said, that just, they open up these mega schools, and they have 50, 60 people on the mats at one time, and they paying contract fees and cancellation fees and all these crazy tuitions, and just to, I'm not gonna say exploit people, but really make it as a business. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that you're staying at this school.
Okay.
I've heard stories of, they saying like, they don't want you cross-training in no other school. They don't want you visiting other schools. If you're going to learn jiu-jitsu, you're going to learn jiu-jitsu here. But, it's crazy as that sound. And I do feel like some schools do water down their jiu-jitsu just enough to where, like, okay, I got this person right where I want them, right where I need them to, like I said, exploit them and get money out of them. And I'm just going to coddle them and be like, yeah, man, you're doing okay. I'm going to give you a belt, even though you're not necessarily learning anything. They're just going to do something to make sure that you stay.
Oh, man. You find those crazy, weird, crazy videos on YouTube sometimes of like fake jiu-jitsu black belts who like opened up a school, and then the real guys show up and say, hey, like, let's roll,
Not going to lie. I want to do that so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't blame you.
I don't know why. But I think it's because of the fact that I take this as serious as I possibly can, and I hate to see people get taken advantage of.
I totally agree. And I just think there's the venue to prove that, in this sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, how dumb do you have to be to choose jiu-jitsu to do that?
Out of all sports, like, you probably can get away with anything else, but with jiu-jitsu, you're going to get tested. They're definitely going to definitely try to pull at your collars on that one, man.
But I guess exploitation can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like the whole idea, like I mean, I'm very, I want to feel like as a religious leader, a Christian leader, I'm very open-handed in how my people connect and practice community with other Christian communities, other communities in general, right? And it's not, you can't coerce people to like only go to this or only learn from this or only, because that takes away all your credibility right away. If you have to use coercion and power and intimidation and fear to get someone to follow you, that's the lowest common denominator of leadership.
Yeah.
To have someone follow you, right?
Yeah.
It should be demonstrated character and credibility, you know, because you are compelling as a leader, right? Not because you're like, well, you know, you signed a contract, now I can't let you leave, you know.
I know, right?
It's like, so yeah. So when people start talking about the watering down, I'm like, oh, that would, it makes me feel like, oh, I'm kind of, I was like, I don't want to see that. I want it to be pure and strong and compelling, right?
Yeah,
so,
definitely, man.
Yeah.
I want to teach jujitsu the same way I learn it, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of today's episode. I would like to thank our guest Daniel again for coming on and sharing his experiences and stuff with us, and I hope you guys learned from it and took something from it. Please go and follow all our Facebook and Instagram pages to stay up to date on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live Jiu-Jitsu. Have a great day. And we're done. And we're done. And we're done.